welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is the wonderful Ben Slinger.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the show.
What are we playing first, Ben?
What are we playing first? I think let's jump into some click picture, as we have been doing of late. This is a game where we take a random stock photo from a list of weird stock photos, and Trevor's going to paste it into our Discord so we can both see it. I will describe it to you, or we will describe it to you, and we will make a game design out of it, as strange as that sounds. A video game. You know those things. They come in very handy.
Vidya James.
During pandemics. Okay, here we go. Okay. We have a psychic cat, I will assume, because this is a cat, white cat, yellow eyes, 3 of them. One in the center of its forehead.
Has managed to open his third eye.
This cat has opened its third eye. And it's seeing something interesting because it has a sort of a very surprised or
quizzical look on its face.
Quizzical, that's a good word for it.
It is the adjective of choice.
So I am liking a game about psychic cats. Have you seen?
Yeah.
Did you see that trailer for that cyberpunk-y sort of game where you play a cat that's coming out?
No, I saw the trailer for Cyberpunk 2077.
There are a bunch of cyberpunk-y games like that aesthetic coming out, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I just thought it reminded me of it. But okay, is this a game then where you play a psychic cat? Are you, or are you living in a world full of psychic cats trying to navigate that? Which would be
I like the idea of living in a world with psychic cats, because we have gone to a world with psychic connections to cats before.
I don't recall that.
You don't recall that? It's where each person could only have one cat.
Oh yes, okay, I do remember that. Yeah,
because they've linked to them. So I do like the idea of again playing a character in a world like this where there are psychic cats, but maybe this particular psychic cat is special.
Okay, this is is this the first cat to become psychic?
Yes.
This is like the origin. This is the beginning. When finally this cat has opened its third eye and starts communicating with humans telepathically.
Yes. So, is this a good cat or is this an evil cat?
Well, there are no good cats. That's just fact.
It's a myth?
Mm-hmm.
It's a myth that there is a good cat in the world?
Yeah, in the true sort of sense of good versus evil, there are no good cats. They're all at least chaotic neutral at best.
Yeah, I get that.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it's how far between neutral and evil this cat is the question we're asking. And maybe it starts relatively neutral and moves towards evil.
Okay, so is this like a Planet of the Apes sort of thing where the cats are now trying to rise up and kill all the humans and therefore you're on the run from this psychic cat sort of thing?
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to figure out a way to work in Hamilton because you said rise up and...
It's a shame because Ben has finally seen Hamilton and listened to the soundtrack.
Everyone in the world who hadn't previously seen it.
Yeah.
Thanks to Disney Plus. So maybe this is sort of that Rick and Morty episode sort of thing as well with the dogs and Snowball.
Yeah.
But it's a cat situation. I don't know that we necessarily go with like the full on mechs. I think maybe do they learn to like levitate and kind of move themselves around telekinetically?
Oh yeah, they don't use legs anymore. They use the power of their minds.
Oh, I love the idea that
this particular one does.
To get around, they pick themselves up by the scruff of their neck. So you just kind of get that like droopy look of these cats sort of floating around from place to place, really not very gracefully. But that's the only way they know how. It's the only way they figured it out. They're still early on, in their telepathic kind of growth, their rise to power.
Yeah.
All right. So from a gameplay point of view, I could almost picture this as a bit of an arcadey or like an action kind of game then, where you do have all these fucking floating teleporty cats that you have to get past.
Oh yeah, I'm imagining that the second this cat became sort of self-aware and was actually psychic, he immediately created some sort of like wave or something that opened all the cats in the world's third eye.
Absolutely, like basically, yeah, linked up all the cats in the world, or at least in the region. Well, like you said, a wave. He connected to the nearest, all the cats within a certain realm, and then they connected, and it sort of bubbled
all
out
the cats that were asleep at the time, which is the majority of them.
Okay.
Because I think because they sleep like 18 hours a day.
It's when their normal eyes are closed that their third eye opens.
In this case, it's obviously surprised that this one has opened all the way. I'm seeing this almost like the second that you said all the cats becoming sort of evil, I immediately pictured like the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game where you're having to like beat the shit out of these cats.
Okay, I could go with a brawler.
Yeah.
So let's talk enemy types in that case then, because it can't just all be floating cats. I think. How are they?
I think the first level is so much so a floating cat level. They're getting more powerful as you go down the list. The first ones are only trying to scratch you and bite you. The next ones are, fully floating and trying to attack your face. Then the ones after that are trying to, like telekinetically pick up like tables and shit and throw them at you.
I wonder if there's a bit more of while keeping it a brawler, instead of exactly along those lines of those old arcadey ones, making it a bit more where like the cats are throwing stuff at you and you have to sort of, it's more about making the right dodge moves to get close and get that attack in. I'm sort of thinking, have you played Katana Zero yet?
No.
Okay. It's along those sorts of lines. That's a very, very much a precision platformer that's a platformer, but where it's sort of, okay, jump over here, reflect something back, jump over there. You can slow down time for a limited amount of time.
Sounds almost like a Dark Souls of the platforming genre.
Not quite. It's all about getting through one section, and if you fail, you just like rewind back. But yeah, in this case, I'm sort of thinking, okay, take that standard, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles view, but it's, you've got sort of a split second to, all right, move further into the background or closer to the foreground or whatever to dodge the things that are being thrown and sort of moving close to get those attacks into the cat.
Yeah. All the while having to deal with, a cat knocking shit down from up above.
As they do. Yeah. Well, exactly. You've just got cats like knocking shit at you. Continually. Sometimes with their paws, sometimes with their telekinetic paws.
You see, like Green Lantern style, like a big paw come out.
Yeah, and just totally. It's just like
knock,
boonk. Give it a little pat first.
And then later on, you see like the telekinetic claws sort of puppeteering people coming towards you and shit.
There you go. See, once their powers grow, they start like controlling other people, and that's where your other enemies come into it.
So all the way through, you're sort of building up on enemies. You still have the occasional cat fodder. And I think, pretty much your MacGuffin in the game is catnip. That's what you're looking for.
That's what okay. Because that's going to put them to sleep eventually. Like they'll...
Yeah, you may have to deal with them going hyper for a little bit, but then they're gonna like pass out because they're high on cocaine or catnip or whatever.
Yeah. And then you cut their heads off. Is that how we deal with it? It's just a slaughter.
I mean, it's what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. I mean,
I don't really like this episode ending, this game ending on cat slaughter, but anyway, it is. So they, like you said, got to do what you got to do. All right.
What sort of moves do you have? Are you like a typical sort of action hero that you know all the moves, or are you more of a guy who's been to like a martial arts studio like once or twice and believes that he knows everything, but then really doesn't?
I mean, from a gameplay point of view, having shit moves, it's probably not all that fun. But from a comedy point of view, sure. You just kind of ineffectually
that's your hard
things.
mode. the harder the mode, the less skill that you have.
You start with a different character and then just like some schmutz who's been sitting on the couch for the last 3 years.
Yep. Easy mode is the black belt. Hard mode is the white. There we go.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. So
yeah, I think let's move on from that.
The copious amounts of cat murder. Yes.
Yeah, let's move along from copious amounts of cat murder. So next we're going to play a game called Click Pitch, and this is similar game. But instead of a stock photo, we have a random phrase generator in front of us. And on a count of 3, 2, 1, click, we're each going to get an adjective and a noun. And we're going to jam them together into a freshly baked game design. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, click.
Copious cat slaughter.
Fuck off. I thought you actually had copious then, and then that was a. I mean, if manslaughter is one word, I guess cat slaughter could be.
Oh shit! I had to say it.
All right.
Okay, you go.
Interim 13.
Female lobby.
Okay.
Yes, I don't know how female is an adjective, but anyway.
Well, no, I mean it's a describing word of sorts. Okay. I mean, lobby in that context made me think of like lobbyists of some sort, or like someone, in politics pushing for their company or industry. Is the Interim 13, is this like an organization or a group who like something's happened and there are 13 people who are in control or who are...
As soon as you said 13, what came into my mind was like that superstition of floor 13, that a lot of buildings would actually skip floor 13.
Okay, so lobby then in that case is the lobby of the building.
Yeah, and the mysterious goings-on floor 13.
Okay.
I also started thinking...
coven whose offices are on floor 13 of this building.
Yeah.
And you are working there or trying to uncover it or managing the building and dealing with their shit?
I kind of like the idea of maybe being the security guard and having to direct like the weird blood-soaked packages that keep on coming into floor 13 and just the other things that you got to sort of do as a maybe it's not even a security guard, but like a mail clerk sort of thing, that you're dealing with weird shit like that keeps on coming to floor 13. The weird thing is you've never been able to go to floor 13 because none of the lifts go there.
So are we talking this is are we saying this is a bit of a slow burn situation where it starts off as a papers please-esque, you work in the mailroom or as the concierge and you're like redirecting mail correctly, fixing errors with it, but very quickly you start noticing these strange things coming through for floor 13.
Yeah. Of which, when you look on your wall and you see all the pigeonholes, there's nothing there for floor 13. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't exist. When you go to the elevator during one of the, like maybe you're going off for your lunch break or whatever, and
well, yeah, I kind of like the idea that you've got different stations in that way. Like you can, you treat it as one of these sort of job-based games where it's like, okay, you've got between 9 and 5, like, or whatever your shift is, or maybe you work the late shift. Maybe you work or maybe later on you get on
the graveyard shift.
Maybe later on you get onto the graveyard shift. But I think initially you work the day shift, but you're seeing the mail come in. Part of your job is, I think you are some sort of concierge / security / like it's not a huge building necessarily where they'd have different jobs for all those. You're sort of just a general,
general dog's body that you go and
And so you can do things like, you have to sometimes check out the security cameras because someone wants to get in, and like you have to see who's there, or like there's an alert on a particular floor. And so it's like, okay, switch the cameras to floor, 27. Like there's shit going down, send security up or whatever. And so you've got different things you can do. I
just love the visual of you're looking at the monitor on floor 27, and just off to the side, if you happen to have a look over there, like you see like a ritual sacrifice or something happening on floor 13, and then it cuts to another scene. Like it's sort of just weird shit going on, and you think, oh my god, if you happen to see it early on.
Okay, well, I like this because I was sort of picturing this as a bit of a retro style, because a retro pixel style, because often those Papers, Please games are. But this could be a bit more of just like a 3D, first person view sort of thing where you can move between, over here I've got a bank of monitors, over here I've got like the mail desk, over here I've got the actual concierge desk where people come in and like ask questions and things, and you have to deal with them. You'll occasionally hear like the bell ring. It's like, oh shit, there's someone there, and you have to drop whatever you're doing because they'll get pissed off if they wait too long or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you can play with stuff like, there's something happens on one of the cameras, but it disappears as soon as you turn to focus on it or whatever, or try to look towards it.
Yeah. The second it sort of gets into the center of the screen within a certain distance from the center.
Well, I like that you don't have, obviously a monitor for every floor. It's cycling through them. And so you'll occasionally have one of them just very quickly cycle through room 13 and show something weird and then go on to the next one. But it's only if they're not directly looking at it. If they're then directly looking at it, it will never go back to room 13, to floor 13. So they're waiting. It never will.
Second they look away, bang, it comes up again.
Yeah, you time it so like as they're turning away, it goes back to it. Oh, that'd be so fun to play with.
Damn it. Okay, I waited here for 20 minutes this time and nothing's happened. I've gone just away and nothing's happened.
All we'll do is give them an achievement for that. If they stare looking at one camera for a certain amount of time.
So I like the idea that it's not just witches, it's witches and warlocks that are actually dealing with this thing.
It could be all manner of kind of magical fuckery.
I do like the idea that when you finally get to the end and you realize that none of this was actually evil,
No, it's just they're running a business up there or something, right? Like, it's like curses for hire and, curses for money, curses for pay or whatever. Yeah,
and it's just the way that this thing actually works, that they need to, go through some of the ceremonies, but it's not bad. Like, no one dies. Yeah. It's just they go through a ceremony with someone, attached to a wheel or whatever. And
look, they need to do a bit of bloodletting, but they don't need all the blood. You keep some of it. And in return, you get, to hex your fucking evil boss or something.
But I kind of like the idea that you actually talk to someone and they go, yeah, we've got offices all over the city. We're in every building, and you see in every building, like there's, this is the way that the businesses in the building actually succeed. They're basically dealing with, this magic or whatever that brings good luck to.
There's basically an industry around this magical curses and hexes and charms and things.
Yeah, it's almost as if, we found that Muggles didn't like it if we were on if we were on normal floors, so we just chose floor 13 because everyone seems to be
no one questioned it. That's it. No one questioned it. If you time out the elevator, then there's, between 12 and 14, there's 2 floors worth of weight, but no one ever notices. Okay, yeah, I like making this, again, sort of, as we tend to do, bring it down to the mundane and just kind of, you're going about your job, you're finding this weird shit. I like going back and forth between your different sort of areas and I think you can go to the elevator, like you can maybe go up to different floors and we just like procedurally generate all the different floors or something. You obviously can't get to 13 until the story sort of moves along enough. Maybe you find a special, the special magic charm or whatever that will make the button, like, you find the charm and you bring it in there and the buttons shift and move and the 13 appears between the 12 and the 14.
Yeah. I'd love if you got another charm and it put like 12 and a half there. It's like just a little bit of, being John Malkovich.
You find
sort of humor or whatever.
If you take the
half law.
If you take a copy of, I can't think of anything else he's been in. He's been in everything.
Rounders.
There you go. In there, then that happens.
So I'm picturing that a courier comes and drops off like a package.
Yep.
And that's why you've got to sort of go up. You call up to floor 37 and they go, oh, no. We can't spare anyone. You're going to have to bring it up. And that's when you get in the elevator and you get to see a few people along the way. You get to talk to the person in the elevator because I'm seeing this as a one of those sort of buildings that actually has an elevator person.
Oh, they've actually got a fucking bip. I don't remember the name of the thing, but yeah, porter something.
Yeah,
I think that's the right word. Anyway,
yeah, and I think operator. It's only during the day that they've got the elevator operator in there.
Yeah, it's just basically to be fancy.
Yeah.
Well, either that or you just run into people in the elevator that work there or something on the other floors, and you can have a bit of little dialogue trees and stuff. You
get up there, and you're talking to the CEO of that particular thing, and goes, "Oh, I could really use a coffee. You mind making me one?" And you got to go do like a mini game making coffee.
On the super overly complicated like espresso machine.
She goes, "What are you using that for? We've got a pod machine just over there." You've just gone through you've read through the manual and you're doing all this stuff and only to find out there's a pod machine.
Full in-game manual. One of our programmers had a spare week, so he just programmed in an accurate espresso machine.
I think he was playing too much Keep Talking, No One Explodes, and realized, that could be really quite fun. So we created a full manual that you have to download.
You have to download, print out. You can't have it on the screen at the same time. Kickstart us at the $150 level. We'll send you a box copy with the nicely published manual. Copy protection in the troubleshooting section. It's like when you start the game up, it's like, what do you do if you're Express 2020 the 20?
Yeah.
Stop, is beeping with these particular sets of beeps.
What I'm also picturing in this game is all the CEOs of the building are all female.
Oh, sure, just because we got female and because more CEOs should be female women.
Yeah.
Female women. That rare breed of female women. Sure. I like this.
I don't know why, but it's just coming to my mind that this is very similar to 4 Rooms.
I don't know that.
Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I don't think so.
It's a movie that has Well, Quentin Tarantino did one of the segments of it. You had lots of
different it's like an anthology thing.
Yeah, anthology sort of thing, but it's set in a hotel, and you've got Ted the bellboy that has to go between all the rooms and has different things happen.
Huh.
I'm trying to remember what his name was that played
Tim Roth.
Tim Roth, yep.
No, I never saw it, but yeah, that's
really,
cool.
Really cool film. Got Madonna in it. It's got.
I like anthology stuff.
Yeah,
it's always a fun way to do something and have some things interconnecting while telling different stories. Hey, I just defined anthology. That was a pointless piece of sentence. All right. I think
yes. If you get a chance, give 4 Rooms a go. I think you'll quite enjoy it. But just, I'm picturing some of the manic stuff that he would have had to do.
Yeah.
And that our our guy would also have to do. 3, 2, 1, click.
All right.
Solar personnel.
Pet proclamation.
The second I saw solar, I got this image of sun mining. I don't know what sun mining is, but I kind of like it.
Okay, I will say I like the idea of this being some sort of like sci-fi space-based thing.
Yeah. I mean, really, the sun, it converts hydrogen into something else.
It fuses. If it just fuses elements, basically, creating energy in the process. Yeah, I think in this case, maybe sun mining is just something around. We've put a space station, relatively close to the sun, and it sort of monitors and captures, more efficiently than we could from Earth, the sun's energy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it gets it back to Earth. Maybe it just stores it, and there's like,
there's just a huge power cord that runs.
There's a power cord. No, I'm thinking there's like a fleet of like drone ships going between Earth and this orbiting space
with
station
batteries,
with like huge like hugely efficient batteries.
The size of like a AA. They come and put one battery in. They take it back.
No, they're the size of a AA, but you need like 10,000 of them. And one of your jobs is like putting them all back into the slots one at a time. It's just this huge bank of AA batteries.
It's these huge pack of like rechargeables.
You've just got power cords, like all daisy chained together, and like the little rechargeable things that fit 4 AAs are just shoved into all the power cords. And obviously the first power cord is powered by the sun. Like, that's the whole point. That's the only thing. It's the only way we could figure out how to do it. And so your job is to try to fit as many of these, because they're always big and chunky, so you can't actually fill all 4 slots of a power board with a rechargeable battery recharger. So yeah, they're just like,
and if you do that, it can actually overload the sun. Like, that's just dangerous shit.
We managed to drain the sun with 3 million power boards daisy chained together in a single. Turns
out the power isn't limitless.
That's the tagline. You thought the sun had unlimited power. We proved you wrong.
We found its limit. And then it's just a mundane game about recharging batteries.
It's got very good like cord physics to like plug them in and
so I think this is in between deliveries of like, so you're all alone. You've got a pet robot.
Well, I was going to say you've got a pet of some kind. You think it's a robotic pet? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it sentient though, or is this like? Does it act like an animal sort of thing?
I think it's as sentient as a dog or a cat is.
But does it speak to you, or it's just got like beeps and boops? It's like a Star Wars droid or something. Yeah,
like a Star Wars Astro droid. And then you've also got like a HAL-like computer.
Okay.
What you doing, Dave?
Sure. I like that. And so is this like a horror game then, or is it a comedy game? Where are we going with the tone of it then, as things like what's happening here in between?
I think it starts off as a comedy game. But it leads into something a little bit more serious when the whole idea about overloading the sun is basically pushing the sun towards supernova a lot faster than what it should have been.
Okay. The physics here don't really make sense since we're harnessing energy the sun already put out, but like it's not like...
It turns out that there's something more nefarious going on. When they say solar mining, they're actually mining the sun.
Right. That big long extension cord that like goes into the sun that they told you not to worry about is actually plugged directly into the core and is draining it directly.
Yeah. Something like that. or there's like a huge drill that you've never looked at.
Yeah. You've never looked at. Your eyes just like glaze over it every single time.
Well, because it's towards the sun, and if you look towards the sun, you go blind. And
right, it's in between you and the sun. Yeah, and you were told never to look at the sun. Okay,
yes, because the last three caretakers all went blind because they looked at the sun.
Right,
sunglasses.
Like, why the fuck did they put windows on this?
The goggles, they do nothing.
Okay, so is this a matter of your kind of? Is this like a walking sim-esque thing where you're just like discovering stuff and exploring this base and, events occur and you kind of discover stuff, or a bit of an adventure game sort of thing? Or
yeah, I think what's actually happened is you got bored while you were up here. So you created like this automated program that actually would do a lot of the work that you had to do.
Right.
And this is before the game actually sort of starts.
Yeah.
And now you're bored out of your mind because you're not actually having to do anything now.
You've got like 2 buttons you have to press every day because, for some reason the interfaces aren't there for you to be able to automate it. And you haven't been able to teach your pet robot how to press them. So that's your whole day. And yeah, the rest of your time, you're just bored shitless. And you've watched all the movies and played all the games and read all the books that you brought on board. And that's why you're waiting for the next shipment because that brings more entertainment.
Yeah.
Either that or you're like scheduled to go home finally.
Yeah, but I'm also sort of picturing that this is I can't remember what the movie was called. They had something similar where there was a guy on like the moon or something like that, and then he was told that this is his last sort of thing, and he was going to go home, and then he finds out halfway through that he's actually a clone,
I think
that they were never going to let him go home.
I think that was Duncan Jones's Moon.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, the clone thing sort of happens halfway through the film, so
yeah, that's true. But still,
good film.
He also did Source Code, and I didn't realize until recently he's David Bowie's son.
Oh, cool! I really enjoyed Source Code.
Yeah, Source Code's really good. I like that a lot.
Okay, so walking sim on the solar sun station.
Yep.
Solar sun station.
The solar sun station. The solar sun-powered sun station around Sol, the sun. Earth's only sun star.
Sun star.
Sol Sun Star.
Okay.
That'd be a good, hero's name. Is that the name of our hero? Sol Sunstar. His name's basically
So what breaks down? Because I think something has to break down. Like this is every day he does this, and until finally something happens. What happens?
Well, I guess is it that he finds out this sort of that what they're doing is damaging the sun in some way, like it's going to expand, like certain measurements just start changing or something, and you realize
an alert because the fuel that has never come up before.
That they've been mining the fuel, and so the sun's starting to expand because it's becoming less dense, and it's going to envelop the Earth in 37 days.
Oh, is it when you actually find this out? Is it that you've got one guy who's turned up for the delivery? You're dealing with all the AA batteries that you're putting into all the recharges, and this guy who's come isn't in the room with you. He's disappeared, and so you go follow him to ask him a question as to you've brought like a whole heap of AAAs, not double A's.
They
don't fit in this, and then you see that he's actually like tapping into a room that you've never seen before, hooking up a cable to his shuttle.
Oh, I like a scene where the big like UV sun visor comes down so that you're not blinded by the sun when you look out the window, and then you just see this huge like mining cable, this huge drill sitting out there that you'd never
this huge
seen
section
before.
of the station that you've never seen before.
Yeah, and you're just like, what
basically,
the fuck? We had these visors this whole time? I've just been avoiding windows. Why did they make this thing out of mostly glass? It's insane.
But yeah, I kind of like the idea that you find out, the guy sort of gets away in the shuttle and you're sort of all alone, but you know now that the work that you've been doing is actually just busy work. It's busy. You're basically, it's the excuse for why this thing is even there, and that's why it's all these AA batteries, because yes, it charges them, but like, they could do it. They weigh nothing.
They could do it on Earth for the same, like, you could effectively almost charge them just by putting them out in the sun on Earth without even a solar panel.
These things are basically, this is, they need to have someone there doing the work to keep this station actually up and running. There was a problem in your code that has actually, like, stopped the mine from running properly, and it's doing damage to the sun.
Okay, it was your fault. You find out it was your fault because of all your automation code. Yeah, you're actually too efficient. You've programmed your pet robot to like just go along and do all the replacements, and it's too efficient, and it's meaning that like the power to the drill is overloaded and it's taking matter too fast. It's like a teleportation drill or something that like transports
matter
heavy
straight from the core.
Yeah, like hydrogen or whatever whatever.
And pure sun energy directly into the sun battery.
The AA sun battery. Yeah.
No, I think what it really is it's like the 9-volt batteries that are really, that's really what they're there for. Well, the AA's were actually a ruse. I mean,
the AA's were a ruse. You've been filling these 9 volts behind my back.
Well, that's what I was trying to get to. That the fact that this guy actually thought that 1.5 volt batteries could actually power the whole world is actually kind of funny. The whole thing was it was busy work to keep him busy while they were really filling up the real batteries.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, and then I guess you solve it.
I'm thinking, how the fuck are we 40 minutes in and we've talked 3 games?
I don't know. We've been rambling weirdly tonight.
It's got some good ideas in it.
There's some okay stuff.
Hey, kind of fun.
I feel like our flow's a bit off, but that's all right. Let's keep it going. So I think let's move on.
3, 2, 1, click.
Organic ploughing.
Jury protein.
Jury protein?
Yep. Just the word ploughing really cemented where my head went with protein.
Yeah, I'm trying to take it away from that direction. I think we can leave that conclusion up to, as an exercise for the audience. My mind's...
Exactly. Why would we want to go down the, farm to table, basically? Why would we want to go down that route with jury and protein and
when
ploughing?
we can talk about fucking and semen. Like, why wouldn't we just do... Why would we do farming? This is the cows versus the state. A law drama where the farm animals are suing the government.
And of course, it's a jury case, and so therefore you got half cows, half humans on the bench.
Yeah, that's the best way they could kind of create a jury of the peers. Or
yes.
Well, it's not a criminal case, so I guess they don't have. It's not about peers, but yes, a fair jury.
Question.
Yeah.
Are they against lamb? Because if so, fuck them. Lamb is awesome.
I guess.
Is this just about beef?
They've got a beef about beef.
Yes. But not about bacon. Because if they take my bacon.
Well, look, this is where, the country is divided on this matter, this very important court case, where finally the animals have risen up and decided to, take it to the courts and say, stop killing us and eating us for
because this is happening on a sentient world where everything is actually sentient, like can actually talk. Everything. Like, I'm now thinking that this is really, really dark, but the whole courtroom is like coated in wood, and then you sort of see in the background there's like tree people, and you know for a fact that
it's like that's the next case. We sit here amongst the corpses of our brethren, appealing to the court. Stop building your houses and your courthouses from the dead children.
And then if you get the DLC, it's all about the fact that rock and metal ore and all this sort of stuff, you know, nothing wants to be used to be created.
Yeah, it's versus the music industry. Cultural appropriation. I think we got a 3-2 and clear it. I think that's
leave it right where it is.
Yeah, let's move on.
You don't like it, or you?
No,
don't?
I do. I just don't. I think it's only going to go downhill from there. Theoretical sibling.
Promised 10th.
Oh, okay. So in a family of 9 children.
Yeah, it's sort of like the whole 7th son of a 7th son prophecy
There's
thing.
some sort of prophecy around the 10th
child of this family.
Of the 10th generation since, you know, some event.
Yes.
Okay.
I like that.
That's cool.
I like that. Ooh. Is it like full on supernatural? Like there's some weird shit happening during this pregnancy?
Well, I'm more thinking because we've got like theoretical, I think it starts before there's any sign of this child, and there's all this question around like, is it us? Is there going to be a 10th child in this family? Because I think like by the time you get 10 generations down, that's a lot of families, right? That's the family tree is spread. And so you may not be, you know, if this family from the 10th generation only has 9 kids, whatever, it's fine. There's probably some other family who's descended from that person, you know, who was cursed or whatever, that might have 10 kids. But is this going to happen? And then, yeah, I think like at some point the condom breaks.
Okay. This is set on a small farm.
Okay.
In rural somewhere.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
I'm picturing out in the cornfields, you see a scarecrow.
Okay.
Standing.
Okay.
And you wake up the next morning and you swear yesterday there weren't 2 scarecrows that close to the house.
All right.
And they're literally covered in crows and shit like this. So they're not doing their job. They haven't been scaring those fucking crows. And I'm just picturing like this leading up to the conception of the 10th child, there's all these weird sort of goings on around the farm.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like a plague of locusts that sort of come, but they don't touch the crops of this house. They're sort of almost like a huge cloud around just circling the farm.
That'd be a cool effect. Okay, I like this. I like that there's shit happening, but it's not happening to this family.
It's happening to everything else.
Everything around them, the neighboring farms.
Yeah.
I think you play the 9th child, the youngest.
Yes. So I do like the idea of like a, sort of like a 6-7-year-old that.
Yeah. I'm just thinking maybe a little bit older because I feel like you want them to have a bit of a better understanding. Maybe like 10 or 11.
Okay. Yep.
And, you know, the ages sort of range from mid to late 20s down to 11 or whatever, right? Like 9 years, you know, a couple of years between each.
Yep.
Do your siblings start disappearing from oldest to youngest?
Yes.
And then the big reveal is that your mother had a miscarriage before the oldest child. And so you're actually the 10th child.
And pretty much these scarecrows and all the shit that's been happening are always circling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're directly in the eye of the hurricane, as it were.
I was definitely picturing one of the scarecrows to like be one of your siblings, by the way.
Oh yeah,
They just like
yeah. As soon as you said that they were disappearing, I'm like, yeah, that's where they are. They're in the fucking cornfield.
right. You don't find that out until the end, and then you go out there and it's just like these corpses hanging out there.
Okay, so I don't think that you've come into your powers yet. I think this is like something that you will get.
Is this a situation where you're like the Antichrist or something? Like you're some sort of...
I think it can just... I think we can leave that
vague,
as sort of like...
vague
enough.
Yeah.
Just like all these things that are happening to everything else, you're being protected.
Yeah.
I'm sort of thinking, almost looking at that whole Bad Omens sort of story where the kid was starting to come into his own and going up against his dad and all this sort of stuff. But I like seeing that part of the story beforehand. Of even if it is the son of Satan, like you don't necessarily have to go down that path.
Yeah,
it's more of
seeing it lead up to that realization almost of yeah. That's cool. I like that. So how are you seeing this play out? Because I feel like this obviously got some pretty good horror tones to it. I want to try to bring in some of that tension, like that real unsettling silence or like unsettling moments where like you see something and it's just you just have a moment to like sit there and take it in.
Well, I think the first time that your older sibling sort of gets killed, you know, you're sort of out in the playing, getting ready for dinner, and then you know your sibling sort of gets called in to help set the table or something like that, and you think nothing of it. But you never see that sibling again.
Right, they never make it in. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, whether they actually made it in and, you know, the parents killed them or...
Well, no, I kind of like the idea of you're playing right outside. You've been in this area long enough in the game-wise to understand sort of the layout of the house and stuff. Your oldest sibling gets called in and you know that basically they should have gone directly from outside into the kitchen where they were called from. Mm-hmm. You see them go in, and then the mother comes out and is just like, "Hey, where's Jimmy?
Where's Jeremy?
Where's Jeremy? I called him in. It's like you went inside. It's like basically between as he crossed the threshold from outside to inside, he was somehow torn out of this reality, and then I think subtly you do. I don't think you make it obvious with the scarecrow thing. I think when the game starts, there's one regular scarecrow out there. Yep. And then as these people are disappearing, you just plop them out there and you don't make a point of it. And you do see more crows surrounding that scarecrow, but you don't make it obvious. And it's not until maybe like the third or fourth sibling goes missing and there's like now, 5 scarecrows out there, 4 of them getting like attracting crows rather than scaring them, that maybe the player would start realizing.
So who's doing the exposition? I'm thinking it's a grandparent of some sort.
Around the curse and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's bedtime stories that you get told about.
Okay. Does this happen over like 10 days? There's some time of
and
year.
even though I said seventh son before, I didn't necessarily mean that it was that your character is male. I'm actually picturing I'm picturing it as a she.
As a 10-year-old girl.
Yep. Just because it's sort of like it subverts the norm.
Yeah, I mean, as usual, we try to put women into lead roles more often than not, since the balance is all off there in the history of all video gaming. Yeah, that's fine. Well, and I like this then of it's set over 10 days, and then each day you get another bedtime story from this grandparent. Ooh, and your parents never reference the grandparent. And like you find out at the end that they died 10 years ago.
No, hundreds of years ago, because I reckon this is the original. Oh,
this is the original ancestor.
Cursed one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I really like that, and I'm almost picturing that they're complaining that they've got to share the room with Grammy. They don't. Yeah. Why do they have to share the room with Grammy? They always have, and their parents just sort of
shrug it off,
make no mention of it or anything like that, and it's sort of like it becomes a reveal of they've pretty much thought that Grammy was always your imaginary friend.
Yeah.
And so they just let you have that sort of thing.
So how do you think a day would play out, sort of gameplay wise?
I think each day there'd be a new plague.
Okay.
So you have the locusts. You have maybe blood dripping from the sky, and you have a major flood or something like that.
I think you want to keep it subtle to begin with. So I think a flood's a good one to start with.
Fire. Yeah. Ring of fire sort of thing.
Yeah, and again, it's just sort of so that it doesn't seem too strange at the beginning that it's not affecting your farm.
It affects it slightly, but you haven't really lost any crops, and your father says something about how lucky that was that the crops weren't damaged when Bill next door, he lost half his yield or whatever.
Somehow you manage to get a glimpse of like satellite photos or something and see it's in like a perfect circle, but you don't. It's not like super obvious. It's just you see the edges of your crops sort of cut off where they did get burnt a bit, but it stops at this like if you follow it all the way around, you'd see it's like a perfect circle around your house.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't come with it.
I'm really loving this.
I just love the stuff you could do with revealing this to the player, and I mean it'd be difficult to pace it out, but if you did it well, I really like that slow burn horror, that tension building of because then day by day the family's starting to realize, obviously, like fucking children are going missing.
Oh, and you have like the police come to the door, and the parents are like being asked questions, and putting up flyers of have you seen Jim Jeremy and please
and John Jiminy.
Yep.
And obviously then you as the youngest, like it becomes clear after like 3 or 4 that this is happening in order day by day. And so you start getting these scenes where like on the 5th day, the 5th oldest just like has a
freaks the fuck out.
Right? Yeah. And so you sort of get to see the different characters and how they react each day. And then like by the time you get to the 6th or 7th, they're kind of, starting to be resigned to it and realizing like something fucked up is going on. But then they're also starting, like maybe weird stuff's starting to happen with you and you start getting some powers of some sort or something. And so like you being the youngest, like obviously with it happening in this order is like, are you going to die or is there something different about, and the family is realizing this too and the parents and stuff. And just having those, it'd be really interesting to write that dialogue between the rest of the family and this child.
Yep. I'm picturing one morning you wake up and there's like, birds and that typical Disney thing of the animals coming in and sort of like, being, singing a song with you sort of idea.
Yeah.
But, they're all flocking to your window and sort of, and when they notice that you've seen them, they fly away and.
Well, no, I had this image then of you have this moment as you wake up. Yeah. Like the birds are knocking at the window and singing sweetly and you let them in and they like create clothes for you and brush your hair. You see them in the mirror. All this stuff's happening, and then the door opens and one of your parents come in and they all fall dead to the ground.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I thought you were going to go and then a crow comes through the window
I'm just picturing
and like flies at them, but it's like, no, they all die.
I'm just picturing this scene where all these birds and squirrels and fucking animals in your bedroom fall dead as your parent walks in, and your parents just like there's just this moment of. And this has got to be on like day 7 or something, or 6 or 7 by this point, right? The parent just
do they just slowly close the door?
Walk back out, yeah. And then you're just there surrounded by these like animals that start rotting.
And then Grammy talks from the corner, from a rocking chair.
Yeah. She wasn't there before, but then it seems like she's there the whole time. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. All right. I think, should we move on to our final? Are we there?
I swear I'm going to have a fucking nightmare tonight. I'm going to have a fucking nightmare tonight. No, I reckon we should do our final.
All right. Okay. I just want to tell you what I just got when I clicked, though, because it's pretty good.
No. We'll do one more. We'll go one more. Let's do one more.
Suicidal bike.
Peripheral liaison.
Peripheral liaison. Okay. Peripheral made me think of like road rash when you go to bikes, like because you like hitting people behind you
on the peripherals.
Yep. I don't know. Just suicidal bike. I just liked because it just gave me the idea of like just a bicycle driving off, riding itself off a cliff. I don't know.
Would this work better? Foreseeable surrounding.
Maybe. All right. So this is a game where you're riding your bike and all of a sudden you just lose control and it just keeps trying to kill you. And the whole game is you steering away from, like, trying to steer away from danger.
Yep. The rest of the game is just Paperboy.
Yeah, there you go. That's basically Paperboy.
Paperboy, except it's trying to steer into the it's trying to steer into the
manholes and the fucking whatever else was in that game.
Lawnmowers and fucking sprinklers and
yeah.
I reckon we both click again one more time.
All right,
and then
all right.
If we can't come up with something. Opened passion.
Justified leapfrog. Okay. What are you?
Sexy leapfrog.
Is leapfrog a sex move?
No,
I'm saying in our game.
I think it is in this world.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not saying in real life. It probably is, but I'm saying in our game, is this a game? It's a sex game where you try, like, leapfrog is a particularly kind of like egregious
taboo move. Yep.
And so it's, oh fuck, it's a collectible card game.
No. Okay.
Where you've got like, all your cards are like not just sex moves, but like they're things you can do whilst having sex, and like
and they're got to be opened during the throes of passion.
as you play them, you're like changing the sort of passion and direction of your sex. And the goal is to sort of get it as filthy and dirty as possible, but you can't just jump from like a 3 to a 10, from
it's got to build up.
Leapfrog.
Are you serious?
You're raising that number as you play, and you've got and then you can create synergies between things, and it's a full on like deck builder.
Now, is it animated or is it just described?
Oh boy,
I kind of like the idea of it just being described, and you got to use the theater of the mind to
or it's just like real basic pixel animation
stick figure.
Yeah, yeah. Just puts them in the different positions, and they're sort of got a little 4-frame loop.
I'm just imagining what the 4-frame loop of the leapfrog would actually be, and just how fucking dirty it would be.
We do have fluid physics.
Oh yeah. It's sort of more of a gel sort of physics, almost like the gel from Portal 2.
Where if you slide on it, you just keep going. Speeds you up.
You can jump.
It makes you bounce. I mean, that's where the leapfrog, you have to deploy the gel for the leapfrog to work.
And of course, the dirtiest sex move, the portal, where, you fire a portal into.
Well, that's when you
the white gel
yourself.
Yeah, and you fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yep. You have to tap your lube cards first before you play your moves.
Oh shit! You need to hit enter on your photo.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, enter. Well, we So, should I describe it in case we want to keep this in?
Yeah, describe it.
So we have a bearded man, big grin on his face, kind of giving the like little bit symbol, like 2 fingers, like showing a distance apart, and the word sex ? Is on the image. So it's like sort of like a little bit of sex.
Or sex, I'm only this big.
Yeah, well, it could be about his penis size. That's very true. All right, I don't think we're going to go with that one, given the game we just described. All right. I'm going to describe this, Trevor.
Okay. A white woman with very bleach blonde hair with a silver tray of what looks to be powdered donuts with a Coke straw up her nose.
Yeah, and powder all over her face.
Powder all over her face. Yeah.
Okay, so we have... Is this some sort of drug smuggling situation where they're smuggling these drugs on donuts?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is how they're getting it across the border from Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a very good job. Not a very good idea because cops, donuts, there's a whole cliche there.
And Brittany here has just, she loves the nose candy.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, she went to Timmy's, to good old Tim Hortons up in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out there was a mixed shipment. It's a Tim Hortons employee who's like doing this smuggling. Right, because
I thought it was going to be Tim Hortons himself, and that was actually doing the smuggling, and they got the wrong donuts. Like, this is the one that was meant for the cartels.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But they gave it to Brittany and her friends.
Well, yeah,
and now Tim Hortons is like chasing him all over.
It's
all
about
over from Canada down
Tim
into
Horton.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about Tim Horton other than he's been dead for 40 years. 45 years.
It's the zombie Tim Horton.
It's the zombie Tim Horton. He started Tim Hortons as a way to smuggle drugs
in his powdered donuts
across the border. Let's see,
because no one ever expected the best cocaine to be coming from Canada.
Does he have a child? Of course, he's a fucking hockey player. I don't think I even realized that. Because despite living in Canada for 6 years, I did not really engage with the hockey culture. I don't think he had children, so that changes that. I was going to say one of his children. No,
a zombie.
I was going to say one of his children started up the whole smuggling business again, right?
No, it's zombie Tim Hortons who started up the whole smuggling business.
He's come back and started up smuggling again. He's raised from there, or has he been doing it this whole time?
Been doing it this whole time. I'm picturing that zombie Tim Hortons is actually not really a zombie. It's just that he's immortal.
Oh, he faked his death, maybe?
He faked his death. But everyone thinks that he's a zombie, but he's still the exact same age that he has always been, because he's an immortal being.
Oh, he's just an immortal being.
Yeah.
Okay. Tim Horton.
Also known as Cain.
Being. Oh, no, he does have 4 daughters. Yeah. Okay. What?
From Cain and Abel.
Yeah, I get it. And just why is he a hockey player going by Tim Horton?
Because he likes hockey.
Okay. He found he has an affinity for hockey and donuts.
Yep. And drugs. Yeah.
So wait, did the drugs come first or the donuts?
Drugs.
And so he started Tim Hortons literally as the way to smuggle them.
As the smartest and only way that he could think to smuggle his large shipments of cocaine into the US. Because,
well, it's true actually, because Tim Hortons mostly does like iced and glazed donuts, not really powdered. Whereas I think powdered is much more popular in the States, so that makes sense. Yes. But maybe what happened here is like the new manager, like he gave up actual, management of Tim Hortons, the franchise, a long time ago, and unknowingly, the new CEO or the marketing department was like, it's about time we're bringing powdered donuts to Canada. We're like going to try to make it take off here. But as a result, the powder that got used came from the drug shipment. And now
Well, it's the only powder that they've ever had because they've been making it for
so they released it in limited markets. And so now in 3 various towns in Ontario, Canada, there are drug fiends mobbing Tim Hortons trying to get to the powdered donuts.
Yep. And it's got to such a point that, the powdered donuts couldn't make it down into the US. So Brittany and her coke-addled friends all go up to Canada to try and get their shipment back.
Do you play Zombie Tim Horton?
No, you play Brittany.
Cutting swaths through the drug-addled hordes trying to get to a Tim Hortons restaurant. I'm picturing like a, fucking
Dead Rising.
Yeah, like a Dead Rising or something where you're just cutting your way through these hordes of people.
Dead Rising meets Days Gone.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so Brittany and her drug-addled friends, they've come up from the US trying to get their hands on the powdered donuts that they're now.
Well, I think initially it's
craving.
Just like the locals, right? Because you've released this into the market, you've hooked all the locals.
Yeah, but I think these donuts have always been going down into the US.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. Like, as the levels get harder, it's because people are now coming across the border in larger and larger groups.
Because they realise that they can't get their Tim Hortons fix.
Yeah, because they found that these Tim Hortons have the powdered donuts that they crave. And so either you play like the manager of one of these Tim Hortons and you're like having to resort to lethal force and setting up, gun turrets, and it basically becomes sort of a horde mode sort of situation.
Yeah.
And then the final boss is Tim Horton as he comes to collect his goods. Or, you play Tim Horton and it's just like, fuck you, you haven't paid for this, get away from my drugs. And I'm a zombie.
Yeah.
And also a biblical figure, apparently.
Yeah, well, he needed to explain his immortality somehow.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Which of those?
Both.
2 modes.
Yes, and.
Zombie mode. Restaurant mode.
He's just got makeup on to make it look like he's a zombie.
It's Halloween.
Yes.
And he's just come from a Halloween party. That's the big reveal.
As zombie Tim Hortons.
Oh, fuck. All right. I think we'll have to leave it there. I don't think we're getting anything more out of that. Thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you want to find us online, go to podchaser.com/Bitstorm. Check out all of our previous episodes. And check out the guests we've had on. Check out our own creator profiles. See what other shows we've guested on. Just check it out. You can also take a look at 8bit.net. This is the NetBit. This is the network that we are part of, the 8-Bit Collective, and it's a group of podcasters around pop culture, video games, role-playing, all sorts of different things. So go and take a look at them.
While you're looking at 8-Bit, also check out the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. It's a podcast network for people who like Australian gaming podcasts. We just search Facebook for the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network, or look on Twitter for @AGP Network. And finally, we'd like to thank us from Kuradust for kindly letting us use the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
Might as well be mining on the sun.